Right, part 2 of the World War I transport and supply. The next problem for the British Army was how to bridge the gap between the supply dumps and the soldiers who needed those supplies. The problems became more and more difficult the closer the supplies were moved towards the front lines. The distance was too long to be bridged effectively by horse-drawn vehicles, as the horses could not manage the round trips of this length. The French and Germans had already found a solution for the first part of the problem, because even before the war began, it had been decided by the authorities that there would be an important role for the 60-centimetre light gauge railway system. These were like modern train sets, found on piers and in fairgrounds with light narrow gauge sections of railway track which could be easily laid on the ground and relocated when they were needed. They were quickly established networks which led from the main supply dumps to the artillery batteries, and then further forward to the smaller supply dumps and refilling dumps from which these front lines could be served. The British, however, chose differently. Now, why doesn't that surprise me? Anyway, the plan had been for a more mobile war, and they decided to rely primarily on motorised transport. Over 1,000 civilian lorries and 300 London buses were requisitioned from the outbreak of hostilities and hurriedly moved across the Channel. Their owners had been encouraged by a financial subsidy to buy vehicles from which met the War Department specifications, on condition that they could be requisitioned if needed by the government. These were only a temporary stopgap, although some vehicles, including the London buses, remained in service throughout the war. Thousands more vehicles were ordered from manufacturers in Britain and increasingly from the USA. In the meantime, a heavy reliance had to be put on the less efficient horse-drawn transport. The fodder alone for the horses took up more transportation capacity than the food and the ammunition for the men. The inadequacy of motor transport was cruelly exposed during the Somme campaign from July 1916 onwards. The combination of heavy rainfall, inadequately built country roads, and the pounding caused by large lorries with narrow, solid rubber tyres caused the problems for the supply lines, literally to bog down in the mud. The British artillery was to fire nearly 28 million shells during the Somme battles, but increasingly the 20,000 tons of supplies required daily to support an offensive on the front of about 12 miles long could not be distributed adequately. Belatedly, the British command also decided to embark upon a rapid development of a light railway system. To their consternation, however, they found that the main British railway manufacturers already had a huge backlog of French orders to fill. Only American industry could supply material in large quantities at such short notice to augment the very limited British manufacturing capacity. By late 1916, construction of lines was underway and began between January and September 1917. The average tonnage conveyed weekly on light railways operated by the British and Dominion forces was expanded from just 10,000 tons to more than 200,000 tons. The network was to grow up to some 2,000 miles of track. This is the end of the thing, and it's taken from documents by the Imperial War Museum website.
It's amazing what happened to these tracks. No mention is made of these tracks, but they must have been everywhere, mustn't they?
Yes, but they were made to be dismantled.
Oh yes, yeah.
So what probably happened is a lot of it was sold off cheaply to fairgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was probably just turned into scrap.
Yeah, but when you think of it, that the amount of food alone that was required, I mean, it must have been awful food, by the way.
Yeah.
And the things that were needed just for the soldiers.
Yeah, it was hardtack and bully beef, corned beef and biscuits, basically.
Yeah. I never liked corned beef. My father used to call it pickle monkey. I don't know why. Yeah. Right, thank you very much, Charlie. That was very interesting.
Okay.
And I hope everybody found it so. It's my turn now.